In this video, Neville Goddard delves into one of the universe's most powerful laws, the law of assumption. This law serves as a potent tool for manifesting, requiring one to transcend the limitations of the senses and venture into another realm. Neville Goddard's teachings, known for their simplicity, stress the importance of focusing attention. Your consciousness and the energy of your intention flow where your attention resides. Before we proceed, I urge you to subscribe to our channel to stay updated on upcoming videos, and don't forget to hit the like button to support more content like this. The law of assumption is ineffective if your attention is fixated on the constraints of this physical reality. You must journey to another world, a realm devoid of the restrictions of time and space, a place where manifestations occur instantaneously. This is the realm Neville occasionally refers to as the fourth dimension. In this alternate reality, your desire already exists. Many attempt to manifest a new reality while remaining anchored in the 3D world, contradicting their efforts. The key is to visualize yourself as if you already possess your desire. If, for instance, your desire is to dwell in your dream home, envision the world through the lens of someone already living in that dream home. Infuse this visualization with vividness and intense emotions until it feels authentically real and excites you. Repeat this process as many times as necessary until it becomes a genuine feeling, an unmistakable knowing. Marvelous things will unfold, appearing right before your eyes. You'll witness your dream home materializing exactly as you imagined. So pay close attention, relish the experience, for there is only one Lord. The discovery of this singular God is paramount. If I were to ask you to speak in the name of your God, the odds, whether 1,000,000, billion, or trillion to 1, are that your mind would instantly conjure an external entity upon hearing your God. Regardless of how it's framed, God is perceived as external. Now, consider your imagination. If I mention your imagination, you think of no one but yourself. Could your imagination be the God depicted in Scripture? Careful reading of Scriptures reveals this truth. There is only one creative power, and the word of the Lord, translated as Adonai in Hebrew or sometimes as God, affirms this. The root Yah in the word Jesus echoes this divine power. Before being addressed as the Lord, the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah, instructing him to visit the potter's house. There, Jeremiah heard divine words, witnessing the potter reshape a spoiled clay vessel into a new one as he saw fit. While the term potter might conjure an image of a man, the analogy extends to the creative power molding reality, much like clay in a potter's hands. If you poured water into that clay vessel at that time of day, it would always be pleasantly cool. I can see it now, you accomplishing everything with your hands. But in Scripture, the word potter means imagination. You'll find what I just quoted in chapter 18 of the book of Jeremiah. You'll also find in chapter 64 of the book of Isaiah, "You are our Father, our potter, and we are all the work of your hands." Who is the Father? The Lord is the true translation of the word Lord, which is I am. If I were to go to the Israelites and say, "The God of your father sent me to you," and they asked me, "What is his name?" what would I say? I would tell them, I am. That is my name forever, and that is how I will be known in all generations. If you want to know his name, just say, I am. The man will not be convinced that this is God. He will not be convinced that his own wondrous imagination is God, and that's why it shapes everything in this world. There is nothing you see in the world now that hasn't been imagined before. The image preceded the objective fact. So, objective reality is purely produced through imagination. The suit you wear, the clothes you put on, the chairs you sit in, the building you're in now, were all just imagined and then became an objective reality. And we think that the objective state is your reality. Not at all. That which the imaginative image is your reality. Destroy the objective fact. I can reproduce from the imaginative image. Everything is within us. Our own wondrous human imagination is the God of Scripture. Now we're told that all things were made by Him, and without Him, nothing was made that was made. He was in the world, and the world was made by Him, yet the world knew Him not. So you walk the earth as the cause of the phenomena of your life. You could, if you lived in your imagination, influence the imaginations of countless people, and you, invisible to them, are the cause of the phenomena of life. If they are passive, they fall under your influence. If you are powerful in your imagination, you are creating the phenomena of life, and those who are not in control of their imagination are moved by the wind of every little rumor, every opinion. They simply oscillate from side to side, while you, in control, move them. No one realizes that you could be in a place where you wouldn't like to be, doing what you wouldn't like to do, like a prison, while they are content with the desire. And then, in your silent moment, you are completely in control of that creative power that lives in the universe, your imagination, and you influence all the people in the world, because all things, by a divine law and another being neighbors. I couldn't see you, you didn't penetrate my brain. I couldn't hear you if you didn't penetrate it. So all things, by a divine law, not being of another, the whole world is one. You are in control of the creative power that is your own wondrous human imagination. You can change the entire vast world. If you can't do it, and some dictators have tried, they bring their propaganda machines, and then they try to force man into a certain mold, into a certain state, and often they succeed to a certain extent. But you, without the aid of any machine in this world, can change the structure of your world by controlling your own wondrous human imagination. That is God. That is the Lord mentioned in the Scriptures. Is it Jesus? Or can you imagine it? Well, that is God in action. God only acts, exists in existing beings, or men. But how does He act while imagining? I imagine anything. And now I am He. I kill and I tell lies. I ruin a nun. I can come out of my head. I raise my hand to the sky and cry out, I live forever. That's your immortal. He cannot die. When you say, I am, He cannot die. He is not confined to the little garment you are wearing. It's a mask you put on yourself so you can be seen in this world of shadows. But you are not the mask you are wearing. You are an immortal being, and that immortal being is God, the Father of whom I spoke in the Scriptures. But I'd like you to start feeling that it's simply I am, and through this imagination, you can sit right now and begin to dream the most known dream in the world about yourself. At the moment of the dream, reason denies it, your senses deny it. But if you dare to assume this assumption that it's already so, publicly, and persist in that assumption, it will harden into a reality. As I said, I met Isaiah, Ezekiel, and dined with him, and I said to Isaiah, "Do you really believe that an assumption will become reality?" He replied, "It's all profit." I believe it. But nowadays, many are capable of assuming anything. They change from one moment to another. If I could only assume that I am what reason denies at the moment and persist in my assumptions in a way I do not know and do not need to worry about, it is necessary to internalize within my world that I know from experience and that the scripture teaches from beginning to end. This is the law that came after the promise. The promise came first and is irrevocable. No one can fail in fulfilling the promise. One day, you will awaken as God Himself and you will know it. That is the promise. But while we are passing through this veil of stories, we have a law, and the law is the law of assumption. If I dare to believe that what I said will happen and not question it, then go your way, it will happen. Here's a very simple thing. My father, on a small island only 33 kilometers long and 14 wide where I was born, was not a scholar. He left this world at 85. His time was up and he left. He had no formal education, very little education. World War I ended in 1918, and the boys started to return in 1919, brought back by the ships that brought the boys from Northern Europe, from North Africa. He heard the officers, the captains, and the commissioners discussing the next war. I can hear my father now, for in 1919 I was born in 1905, so here I am at 14 and we are all growing up as young men. My father said, "We will have another war in 20 years. It will break out in 1939. My mother said, "Joseph, look at all our boys. They will be ready for the war." "Why do you say that?" "We have 9 boys and 1 girl." He said, "This happened in 1980, 20 years. He even named it Peaceful Life and put it aside. Japan, as large as what we inherited from England, what we now call the Declaration of Rights, all of that is part of the foundation of the English-speaking world." And he thought, now, America is happening at the right time. But in 1919, it will break. But on September 1st, 1919, it happened. I was driving from Montreal, where I had spent 2 weeks at the Canadian border, to go back home. I had sniffed champagne and stout, a delicious drink by the way. So we got in the car and started to head back, and on the way, the radio came on with the news. England had just declared war on Germany, which had broken the treaty. This was in September 1919. My father was not a prophet, but he firmly believed in his assumption. So you don't need to have enough talent, you don't need to be in the White House, you don't need to be in any prominent place, just believe in yourself. Comment down below, I believe in myself. Until the next video.